What's good, everybody? NicMakesPlays here. We just had a huge new patch with 40 plus balance changes of buffs and nerfs. So I'm going to go over what I think are the top 5 best buff decks that received, I guess, buffs. You know, they got things that helped out their archetypes, supported them. These decks I particularly think that are good and also fun. The ones I'm interested in, so a lot of these I'll be making videos on. Without further ado, top 5 most buff decks of the new balance patch. And if you guys enjoy the content, make sure you like, subscribe, and at the end of the video, let me know in the comments below what you guys thought about the video. So, let's get into the first deck. The first deck I have is Zed Hecarim Aggro. I actually went 7-2 on ladder with this exact deck list. I love this deck. So, what happened for Hecarim is that Hecarim's level up. It used to need, let's go here. So, Hecarim's level 2. It says ephemeral allies have +3/+0. Now, when he levels up, it gives your Nexus that ability. So even if he's removed, you know, Vengeance, Kill, whatever, as long as he hits the board, leveled up for even 1 second, the rest of the game, all of your ephemerals are buffed +3/+0. So you can, like, play him, they kill him, and then all your Shark Chariots, everything, the rest of the entire game are +3/+0, just insane damage, and there's no way for them to stop it. So let's go over the deck real quick, I guess. We got Zed. You know, he puts up the ephemerals, Hecarim, the main star of the show. But the crazy things you can do with this deck are the damage output. I had a game where I did 18 damage on turn 3. You can do Oblivious Islander on your ephemerals. What he does is grant ally in hand ephemeral, and this costs by 1. Use on cards that are already ephemeral, so it doesn't actually really bother them. Shadow Apprentice, when you summon an ephemeral, ally give me +1/+0 turns, not once per turn. Same as Sparring Student, when you summon an ally, give me +1/+1 this round, so you can just play these. And then play things like Haunted Relic or Onslaught of the Shadows to buff them really fast. Your Shark Chariots will keep coming back every turn. And with Hecarim buff, it's just pretty insane. You can do, they all get +3/+0. And then they can just recur the rest of the game. You can just keep attacking. And then, yeah, Stage Hand, pretty good. Stun an enemy, so you can stun a blocker. Push for damage. I have Scourge in here, just to give you some tempo in terms of healing. It's also like 3 mana 5/5, so they have to block if they take 5 damage. And then Dragon Ambush is a really unique card in this deck. Start free attack with 2 Dragonlings. Dragonlings are ephemeral. But the cool thing is this works with the Shark Chariots. Because Shark Chariot says, whenever an ephemeral attacks, you summon it attacking. So you can do like, okay, on their attack token, Dragon Ambush, start a free attack the Dragonlings, get back your Shark Chariots, and just push for so much damage. And then the big bomb of the deck is the Herring. The Herring revives the 6 strongest allies that die this game, grant them ephemeral, and all your ephemerals are buffed from Hecarim. And it's really crazy the damage output this deck can do. So that's the first deck. The second deck is good old tried and true Ashe LeBlanc. Ashe LeBlanc got so many buffs. Not just this patch, but last patch. So they're all kind of piling up. So Blanc, now when she's leveled, she immediately gives you the mirror image. She didn't used to do that. That's as of last patch. That's his most recent patch. So she only needs 4 enemies to either reduce their power to 0, or, I mean, Frostbite will reduce power to 0, same thing, to level up, which is insanely fast in this deck. What they had was you had to reduce enemy power to 0, which meant if you frostbite an enemy twice, it wouldn't help level her. But now you can frostbite an enemy and then frostbite them again to like turbo level her. So she levels so fast. Really strong. When she levels up, she makes it so that enemies with 0 power can't block, which is really easy to do with Troll Chance, Freezes, stuff like that. They bought the plethora of cards, so I'll just go over the deck real fast. Yeah, Sentry's a 2-drop, just help refuel, whatever. Icefall Archer, really good offense and defense to freeze enemies. You can combine this with things like Trafan Glory Seeker, which you can, you know, frostbite an enemy and then hook them and kill them, get a free kill. Trapper gives you a Yeti. So they made Bjerg. You can't see it here. Bjerg's actually a 3/4 now, so he blocks a bit better, which is nice. Hearthguard's actually a 5/6 now, is the most recent patch. Grant allies in deck +1/+1, so a bit more beef on your mid game. Assessor, this is the biggest buff of probably the whole entire deck. This is what makes the deck like probably potential to be like high tier 2, maybe tier 1 if someone really refines it. I've been working on it. See what I come up with or anyone else, but it's now cost 4. It says 5, cost 4 as of the new patch. So draw 1 for each 5+ power ally you have. That is so easy to do in this deck with, you know, you get the Yetis, Trafan Glory Seeker. These are both the 5 attack. So yeah, just very strong stuff here. To on turn 4, bam, just draw 2 cards. Like it's just so much free refuel to have like draw 2, potentially even 3 on a 4/3 body. Tactician, Reputation, he costs 2 less, you can rally to make a huge swing. You got some cheap combat tricks. All you have to do this deck is just control, get like board control in the mid game, and then just overwhelm your opponent with like a bunch of stats. Troll Chant can be used to actually level Ashe by making their guy 0 attack. Culling Strike can kill pretty much anything because you can just freeze them and then they have 0 attack when you do that. Whisper Word, draw 2. Flash Freeze, good Frostbite. It's a very well-rounded deck. Super exciting, and I'm currently working on making it even better. But yeah, this deck got a huge amount of buffs with the Ashe buff, LeBlanc buff last patch, Bjerg, Hearthguard, Assessor, so there's something here. There's something here. I'm going to figure it out, but there's definitely something here. If you guys are Ashe LeBlanc fans, been around for a long time, then yeah, rejoice. Next we have Twisted Fate Annie. A newer deck. I mean, Noxious Build Our Controls have been around for a long time, but now we have Annie and Ravenbloom Conservatory. So Ravenbloom Conservatory, count down 10, I advance 1 for each time you use a fast, slow spell or skill. You have tons of those in this deck. And you have Tybulk. So Tybulk says, 6/6 Overwhelm, when I'm summoned, grant allies every +1/+0, and for the rest of the game, all of your spells and skills do 1 extra damage. Now, this was already a thing, this has been here for since the last patch, but one big buff they changed was Riptide Rex. So Riptide Rex was, huge threat. When Rising Tides came out with Riptide Rex, he was like the meta. Like Riptide Rex was like a dominant force, had to get nerfed in multiple different ways. So you can't see it here, but now Riptide Rex, not only did they buff him +1/+1, who's a 7/5, they also made him cast Cannon Barrage 7 times. It says 6, but it's 7 times now with the newest patch. This is particularly strong with the Tybulk, because you have, all your skills that you want your damage, and now you're doing 7 cannons that all do 2 damage. Pretty insane stuff. So deck, Pull Shark, you got Refuel with the Pull Shark and the Croaker. You got House Spider to hold down the, blockers. You can damage things for Ravenous Flock, stuff like that with the Spiraling and summons. Sentry, really good stun tool. Stop enemy threats, enemy pushes, and then you can Ravenous Flock them. Zap Spray, Fin, some Refuel. We got Blade's Edge to damage things. And all these spells and skills are leveling the Ravenbloom Conservatory, leveling Annie. And then you have Twisted Fate here. Just a generally good control tool. You can do red card to ping, on AoE on weak health boards. You can do the gold card to stun threats. You can blue card to refuel, which is well-rounded. Disintegrate. Next time an enemy take damage, you can just kill it. So very good at removing big threats. Make it rain, Death Hand. It's a well-rounded deck, but now you have Riptide Rex as the bomb. So I'm running 3 Riptide Rex. You don't have to run 3. I just am really excited for Riptide Rex buff. He's so strong, especially with Tybulk. So this is the 3rd deck, and definitely all Riptide Rex decks, this is your time to shine. Alright, the 4th deck we have. You love it or you hate it, Aurelia is here. A huge meta threat back in the day. Now comes back, because, again, you can't see it here, but as is the latest patch, Aurelia has a tune. One thing really holding this deck back was that they made her Flawless Duet cost 2 mana. It used to cost 1. And it's just a bit too pricey. You couldn't really get the deck going, so it was just too expensive with a 2 mana duet. But the new Aurelia, again, not pictured here, has a tune which gives you 1 spell mana. So essentially making your Flawless Duet only costs 1 if you get it through Aurelia. Really strong. I play this deck a lot since it came out, just to see how how it fares. And the tune from Aurelia makes a world of difference every single time. So the goal of this deck, if you don't already know, is to set up Azir and the Emperor's Dais. Whenever allies attack, you get attacking Sand Soldier. And then you use the Blade Dance, Aurelia, or Ribbon Dancer, Blossoming Blade, what have you. And those summon a free attack of blades. These blades are just the 1/1s. They're just these 1/1 blades. But every time you attack, you get the Sand Soldiers as well. And it just becomes this overwhelming force if you're just normal attacking with your attack token. And then you do Blades Dance, and you just keep attacking. Your opponent can't block everything, and you basically just kind of shut them out. The reason it's so good is because you dealing with the individual blockers, or individual attackers, like the Sand Soldiers, the Blades, they don't do anything, because those are just recurring. It's that Azir and Emperor's Dais can safely sit in the back row. If you can't deal with those, it's just a never-ending, attack spam engine. But yeah, we have Azir, pretty much the main card on a mulligan for. You always want a mulligan for Dais and Azir, get the Sand Soldiers, because without the Sand Soldiers, the Blade Dancing is pretty underwhelming. Ancient Prep's good, because it gives you a landmark to help level Azir, and it gives you a 2/2, which also helps level Azir. You can predict for the Azir, the Dais, get some consistency in there. You got Dune Keeper, can summon a Sand Soldier. So Shadow Apprentice is the new addition, pretty cool actually. When you summon an Ephemeral Ally, give me +1/+0 this round. So again, if you have the Dais, the Azir, those are all Ephemerals, the Sand Soldiers. So you're able to just buff in really fast. You used to run Green Glade Duo, which is a similar role, but it costs 2 mana. This is just a cheaper, less committal one, just for 1 mana. Sparring Student gets really big in this deck from the Blades and the Sand Soldiers. You have the Blade Dance cards. Field Musician, really strong. Each round, once you summon 3 other allies, refill your spell mana and draw 1. So it's pretty much effortless in this deck, because you're summoning all the Blades, the Sand Soldiers. It gives you refuel, draw, return. It is nice to have the spell mana, because you do pay for the Flawless Duets and stuff like that. Shapestone, really good, because it's just a cheap 1 mana combat trick. Again, having a card being 1 mana versus 2 mana is like night and day in this deck. That's why I run only 2 Twin Wisdomins and 3 Shapestone, because the 1 mana is just big to have. Like, okay, I have exactly 5 mana. That means I'm just enough to do Aurelia plus like a Flawless Duet or like Shapestone, whatever. So yeah, this is a really good combat trick for 1. Same with Twin Splints, and Defiant Dance is actually part of what makes this deck so insane. So you recall a unit in Blade Dance 1. If you have the Azir and Emperor's Dice, it's just an insane tempo swing. You're able to, it's like, okay, your opponent plays like Nasus or something, Hecarim, whatever, and it's like, alright, I'll just bounce that back to your hand, and then I'll attack with a bunch of free units, and then you have to play it again, and it'll cost you 6 more mana. So yeah, very strong deck. Definitely scary. You love it or you hate it, but if you love it, and if you haven't tried it, you should definitely find out which side you're on, because it's a ton of fun. I personally like it, but I play it in doses to make sure I don't go crazy. Last but not least, Nasus Thresh is back, baby! Or so I hope. I did end rank 1. I finished rank 1 the Nasus Thresh season, and my highest mastery is with Nasus, so I'm hoping it's back. So we got a huge buff in terms of Blighted Caretaker. This now has 2 attack. It says 1/1 here. Again, it's the recent patch. It is a 2/1. So this card got nerfed because it was just such a huge tempo swing. You're playing it, attack token on turn 3. You pop, say, your Curse Keeper, getting a 4/2 Escape Abomination, and then you just hook away 2 enemy units, and then you can attack for huge damage with the Treasure Seeker, plus the Abomination, plus the Caretaker, killing 2 of their units with the Ephemeral Saplings. So very strong, gives you Slay triggers. So the reason I like this buff a lot is because it didn't really have a good 3-drop slot. Like, you were running Merciless Hunter before, which is fine, but it just felt very fair. And this allows you to have that aggro pressure that's so strong. I probably want to fit a Kai Reaper back in here. I'm not sure if I could like cut the Black Spears or the Ray of Negations and stuff for a more aggro approach, but this is a well-rounded version. Basically, the way the deck works is you get Nasus gets +1/+1 for each unit you slay. This game includes yours and your opponent's. So you just get a bunch of good combat trades, slay a bunch of your own cards, and play him as a 10/10. When he levels up, by showing him 10 damage, you get Spell Shield, and when you have Spell Shield, you use Atrocity on the Nexus to just kind of like kill them in one shot. But yeah, tons of good damage output. You got Butcher on the Curse Keeper, you got Butcher on the Prey from the Fading Icon, Wings of the Waves well-rounded, Black Spear, pretty rounded card just to deal with things. It's very easy to kill an ally this round by self-slaying it and then doing 4 to unit. Ray of Negation is really good if you're going for game with Atrocity, to just back up the Ray of Negation, so if they try and like deny your Atrocity, you just Ray of Negation it. It's good at stopping Vengeances on your Nasus. Very well-rounded deck. Rite of Calling to search your champs. Thresh, the only other champ you can get is the Nasus, so it's guaranteed to get Nasus. Spare Leech for refuel. Yeah, very good deck. Hoping the Blighted Caretaker buff is enough to get it back on the map. I could try a few variants. Again, these like cards like Kai Reaper can make an aggro variant. But yeah, that's the 5th deck. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, comment below what you guys saw in the video, what decks you think are back, which ones are not back, decks you're excited to try out for the new patch. But yeah, tons of deck guides coming this week, mostly on these decks. I'm definitely going to be making like Ashe LeBlanc, Zed Hecarim, stuff like that, and tons more. So I'll see you guys next time. Peace.